Right, Stephen Olveda here with another Zoomcast. We're going to go to more sports. We're going to relive some of our best moments from the last year. So we're going to start with volleyball here, and I am lucky to be joined by the 2019 SCIAC Newcomer of the Year for women's volleyball, Cat Helgeson. Cat, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How was your freshman year? I mean, obviously it's a lot different than I'm sure you wanted to go. I don't think you guys even got into a spring season at all for volleyball, but how was finishing your freshman year in quarantine and kind of wrapping up everything academically for you?
It was actually really good. I'm really happy with going to Chapman and the team and finishing a really strong season this year. And, it did suck that we had to go home and had to live with my parents back for quarantine. But, the team stuck together and we did some Zoom calls and we kept talking about getting excited for the next season. Hopefully that's going to come. And, it wasn't too bad, but I do still wish I was down in SoCal with all my teammates and still playing volleyball. So.
Now, I do see, you came in with a big freshman class, and we did see you guys quite often traveling. It seemed like in a pack. Would you say that your freshman class seems like it's maybe closer than you even expected it to be in terms of friendships and on the court, off the court?
I mean, we kind of, when we first met coming to campus, we knew that we were all going to be really close because we were just texting before, but then we all got together and we just immediately clicked. Like, we had no issues, and we did kind of travel as a pack, and but it was a really good freshman class and we're all super close, so we got really, really lucky with that.
And obviously the youth contributing there was two seniors. Mavis kind of joined in that senior class. She graduated in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But a really young team, I think, can lend itself to that, and you guys are able to step up and be leaders and contribute yourself, obviously. Nat Whitco stepping up right away in the middle, and so big things coming, I think, down the pipe for volleyball with really, really young talent on the floor. In terms of Cat, so I don't know if you've looked back on your year at all and like kind of put everything into perspective or looked at final numbers.
Not I don't know, but
you don't seem like a big numbers person.
I mean, I used to focus on that more in high school and club, but I mean, coming into Chapman, I wasn't really expecting to like play that much or like be that big of a part on the court. So like I was kind of just going with the flow, doing what Mary told me, and then I was like, oh, I'm actually playing a lot, and so it was a little bit of a shock, but there were definitely some nerves at first, but the team made it easier, and we all helped each other out and brought each other up. So,
well, the nerves didn't quite show, I don't think, very much. I think in your first match you had 31 digs. And for the season, Cat averaged just under 6 digs per set, so 5.9 digs per set, which is the most in the SCIAC, and the highest average for any freshman in all of Division III. So yeah. I don't know if you know that, but she had 32 digs in a 4-set win over Whittier. That was her season high. And yeah, that was, I mean, for a libero, obviously the numbers aren't something that you tout a lot because they're not scoring the points all the time. They're not the ones getting the big last shot or hitting the Jess speed ball over the net, but you play an important role, obviously, and somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah.
So that was a big one, and I think the biggest number too is a 23-win season. Nothing to laugh at. Obviously, one of the better seasons in the program's history. Just missing out on NCAA's, but getting all the way back to the SCIAC championship final. And looking back on it, your top 10. You had a top 10 season in terms of digs in a season for Chapman, and your top 5 in Chapman history in digs per set for that freshman year. So I don't know if you've looked back on it all and thought like, wow, like, I mean, you kind of said about it earlier, but you couldn't have expected to do that well that quickly. And what kind of thoughts does that put into your mind going forward for the next 3 years?
I mean, it just gets me really excited to get back on the court because I know like each year the whole team, we're all going to get better and we're all going to learn from each other and we're going to be able to play better with each other. So also because like you said, we're a super young team and we also have like another 7 or 8 freshmen coming in, so we're going to be really, really young still, and just like I'm excited to get to play with everyone more and like you know, connect with each other on the court. And that's the only way you can do that is by playing with each other more and more and more.
You started the season 17-2 this year, and part of that was a 2-2 start to the season. So then it was a 15-match win streak. What was it like being part of something like that, where it seemed like everything just kind of clicked right away for you guys?
I know it was super cool because, you know, as a freshman, we didn't really realize like how insane that was because we were just coming new. But then as we kept winning and winning and gaining that streak, we realized, oh my gosh, like we're a really good team and we can actually do this. We can go super far and we can get better. And so that was really cool and exciting. And it just makes us think like, what are we going to look like a year or 2 years from now? So it's super cool. It was a lot of fun.
Have you ever been a part of a start like that, where your team starts 17-2, or you're maybe club in a tournament somewhere where you guys just started rattling off wins?
Never. I don't, not 15, 17, never like that. So it was definitely new and exciting, and I'm glad I was a part of it.
Do you feel like being in college, I don't know, do you think that means a little bit more just when you're at the next level? Like every level you go up, it means a little bit more when you start having some kind of big number like that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm not really big on numbers, but like when you just count all your wins like that, because there's so much that goes into just one win. Like there are 5 sets, and then you have to worry about every point, and just like the fact that we figured it out so quick because freshmen kind of made up half the team. So just the fact that like we started really, really strong and we just got stronger and stronger, and then it paid off in the end. So
It was definitely a great start and led to a great season. And like I said, cut a little bit short when you were left out of the NCAA tournament, but
yeah.
still nothing. I mean, you look back on it, 23-5 is a pretty good starting spot for your career.
Yep. And the goal is just to get better. So
Now, part of that win streak was a 5-set win over Claremont at home, and I think I watched half of that match. I want to say I was there for the first half, and then I had to leave the gym to go do something else. But you guys were down 2-0, and I think you're getting dominated pretty good in those first 2 sets.
yeah, that I remember that at the beginning because we were all just kind of like playing like we usually do and hoping that like the other team would make a mistake, which is kind of not the way you should go towards it. You should go towards like, okay, they beat you on that point. Well, you're doing something wrong, so fix that and then move on from it. So.
And somehow that switch flicked for you guys in the 3rd set there, and you came out and you're able to capture some momentum. Is that kind of what you feel happened in that match?
Yeah, I feel like probably Mary, what I'm guessing is Mary probably yelled at us, and then we figured it out like, okay, this is not how we're supposed to play. We're supposed to actually like try to win, not wait for the other team to let us win. So we just kind of figured it out, pulled everything together, and you know, something that really helped us was cheering for every point, no matter how big or small it was, just like getting everyone pumped to know that everyone was part of that game and that every aspect was going to help us win, whether you were doing something or not. So that kind of changed our mindset, I guess, working more as a team than focusing on like what you need to do specifically. It's what you can do to help your fellow teammate to succeed. And that's kind of, I think, how we started figuring out what we were doing wrong, you know.
A selfless way of playing, I guess, looking more from a group unit as instead of individually. So here's your last point, I think. Ignore the scoreboard down there, I guess. But,
Second last.
Yeah, and Cat was the one serving the last couple of points. And by the time we got to the 5th, you guys had kind of seized all the momentum, and so you go on a little bit of a run. You got some separation. I think it was 9-8 or something, and you rattled off. Yeah, you rattled off a few points. They called timeout. Cat comes out of the timeout, and is this? She aces her real quick. Just third flip ace. What's your mindset out of that timeout there? Where I mean, obviously you're trying to drop it on the 10-foot line, but
I'm thinking to myself, don't miss a serve, because Mary counts how many serves I miss because I usually don't miss serves. So I was like, can't miss this one because I'm supposed to not miss my serve.
Obviously a good one. You dropped it right in front of her, and she just put it off the net and they weren't able to recover. And so then the last play comes out, and I think it's a little bit of a longer rally.
Yeah.
I remember right. I mean, this is a big spot as a freshman too. I mean, you're still just 12 games in.
Yeah.
And there's a huge save from you right there to keep that point alive. And so they ended up with that point. But yeah, as a freshman, you come in and you know it's a big spot, and you're I think they were top 10 in the nation at this point, and you're serving match point against them. You know, is there anything in your mind, or you're just playing volleyball at this point?
Just playing volleyball, you know. I try not to think too much. At this point, I'm probably thinking, please miss the serve. But
And then this is the end, and you can just see as this point finishes, you'll just see the I think, I don't know, relief, elation. You got to take me through the emotions when this point finally goes down.
after that, I remember that exact moment too.
Because I mean, this is a bigger celebration than when you won a postseason game. So I don't know if that's because you were down 5 because of the opponent, whatever it is, probably a combination of all of it. But what are the emotions that you guys are feeling at that point?
Definitely like all the butterflies, kind of just like, wow, we actually did it. Because I remember even before we started playing, like Nayeli and Eve, they were like, we really need to beat CMS because this is our senior year, this is one of our conference games, and like this is what we really want to do. And we were like, okay, like we need to pull it together and like do this for our team, do this for Mary, do this because we actually want to win, and it will bring us forward and then help our winning streak. So I think we all wanted it really, really bad. So when we finally won, like we kind of had a taste of it when we were 5 points ahead. We're like, oh my gosh, we're actually going to do this, something that it was one of our goals that we had at the beginning of the season, you know, getting through and just being undefeated and beating CMS. So it was really, really exciting, and like, you know, I felt really happy and for a senior, just because we were like, hey, we kind of did this for you and for the team, and to prove that we are a really like competitive team in this conference. So
a huge win, just to be part of that streak. It's right in the middle of that 15-match win streak. A huge win for that, and I'm sure, like you said, huge for confidence going forward and knowing that you know you can compete with anybody once you get there. So you end up with that win. Helps coming in second to Claremont. They end up beating you guys in Claremont, and you take another loss to Cal Lu, and so CMS ends up winning the SCIAC, but for the regular season title. But you guys take second, so you're going to host Cal Lu here, and then in the SCIAC semifinal, it's the first time that you guys have been able to host. I don't know if you've kind of captured or felt the history of that at all. The fact that you know, it's only been since 2012 that we've been in the SCIAC, but you guys had never hosted one before, and only the second time you'd finished second in the league. So did you kind of grasp the weight of that history?
Yeah, I knew when we first were told that we were hosting that we hadn't done that before. So that was really cool for us and our seniors also. Kind of just the whole season was just like, wow, we're really coming far. We're coming farther than Chapman's done in a long time. So it was really exciting for all of us, especially as freshmen, because we were like, we still have another 3 years of this. So we're just going to keep dominating and keep working hard.
Setting the tone for what's to come, right?
Yeah, you know, we're trying to let everyone know that if you come to Chapman, you're playing volleyball, you got to work hard if you want to win or compete. And, you know, that's what it took. We all worked really hard, like on practice, out of practice, just bonding. So
now to go to that SCIAC semifinal, here we are. You guys go up really early, but then Cal Lu comes out and they take the first set. And then you're down 9-3 in the second set. And you're kind of at that point where the wheels could fall off. Being down 6 points early on, obviously it's early in this set, but did you feel like you guys were at a point where like we have to make a run here, or this is just going to be over way before we wanted it to be?
Yeah, I mean, anytime we're like 5-6 points behind them, I keep thinking, shoot, like we just need that 1 point. We need those 2 points just to keep stepping up closer to them. It's not like a 6 point run or a 7 point run is really what's going to do it. It's just each point you got to focus on like what you're doing and how you can help your teammates and how you can just keep pushing till you get to 25. So
And that focus on one point in time actually is what gets you back in this match or this set here. You're down 9-4, so you just side it out. Jesse Lumsden's serving, and you're going to play a long rally here. So I wanted to play that one for you because I think it's a little bit of a turning point in the momentum, at least. Like I said, Cal Lu's up 9-4. Nothing really going too well for Chapman at this point, but you're going to play this long rally that I think ends up being about 45 seconds, which, doesn't sound like a lot of time as we're sitting here. Nice diving save by Cat there.
it's always rewarding to win the long rallies because you work so hard for them. So it always feels really, really good when you win those long ones.
I was going to ask, in a rally like this where you've seen the ball go over the net 6-7 times now, and you're running all over the floor, literally right there. You're just diving in and getting ball up and just pushing it back over. Is it just keeping it alive at some point, then just like waiting for your opportunity to put it away?
At that point, because I'm not usually the one that puts the ball away, but at that point, I'm just like, okay, just get the ball nice and high. It doesn't have to be a perfect pass. Just get it so someone can get there, and then hopefully someone else can put it down, or I can make a good set to help them put it down.
So you end up winning that point, and then Jess goes on a run, and you end up tying the match at 9-9. There's nothing too great in that run, but then it kind of goes back and forth, and it seems like the whole second set it would be Cal Lu taking a lead, and then Chapman catching up, and then Cal Lu taking a lead, and then Chapman catching up. And it was kind of like a broken seesaw a little bit, where you never really got to the point where you're ahead of them. But then you get to 23-23, and you end up taking – we're going to skip ahead here. And there you go. And you end up taking the lead here, and then I want to play the last point. So I think you're up 24 – 24-21. Or no, you're up 23-20. You score to get set points. So you're going to even this one up. I forget who's serving. I think it's Nayeli that's serving, which is why she's not. No, it's not.
Jesse.
Yes. And this is one of my favorite plays because she kind of shoot it off the net, and then Sophie just does something that Sophie does, right?
Typical.
Slides in from out of nowhere, and then a nice dig there by Jess is going to the back corner, and then I remember how it ends. I think Erica puts it away here. But again, another long rally that you guys come out on top of here. You see the ball go over the net 3 and 4 times. Oh, that was Reagan. Reagan wasn't a starter.
Oh, yeah. I actually do remember that because we were super excited that Reagan was playing. And then we were like, oh my gosh, she just won us that point.
And she made a big difference, I think, in the front row on the defensive end for you guys. I think she got her hands on a lot of attacks.
She was blocking a lot that game,
which I'm sure makes life easier for you in particular.
Definitely.
She's supposed to be casting that shadow over the court that you don't have to cover, right?
Yeah.
So obviously that's a huge one. I love that last play. On a play like that, you're just trying to touch the ball whatever way you can, and if it comes up, then great, or is kind of the goal, obviously. But that one just shoots straight off the net.
Yeah.
Do you remember that play at all, or?
I definitely remember it now that I've watched the whole thing, because I do remember Reagan being really big on the defensive with the blocking, and I do remember shooting it into the net and being like, oh my gosh, I just lost that point. But then, that's another thing with like us working hard is that we just don't give up. All the drills that Mary gives us where we just have to fall on the floor and dive for the floor, they pay off in the end when it's moments like these. So.
And then in the third set, you guys dropped that one again. So now you're down 2-1, obviously facing the end of the season pretty much at this point.
Yeah.
And then in the fourth set, I don't know if you realize this, but you guys, I don't even know the correct terminology behind this, but you guys side out every single time that Cal Lu serves in that set until the very last point. I think they string 2 points together for the very last point when it's like 24-14 or something. It was pretty much the end, but
yeah.
you side out every time. What clicked in the fourth set for you guys?
I think we kind of just realized that when we were playing, we were just waiting for our opponents to like make a mistake instead of actually coming forward and saying, hey, we need to be the offensive on this and actually put in the kills and like get all the balls up instead of just putting the ball on the other side of the court and seeing what they do with it. Because I feel like that's kind of what we did a lot in the first few sets of a lot of games, is we just kind of played volleyball, went through the motions, put it on the other side of the court, and then hoped for the best. But I think towards the end of the season, a lot we were like, we need to like show that we're here and play hard the first point and show them like, oh, we're here to play, we're here to compete, we're not just here to go through all 5 sets and we'll see who wins. Like, we're here to win. So I think the fourth set, we just all kind of came together. Mary probably yelled at us again, and we probably just said like, hey, like, we need to calm down and focus on point by point, just doing the best we can and putting the ball in the best place we can for our teammates and then crushing it on the other side of the court. So
You make Mary sound like a yeller.
no, I don't know. She had some inspirational speeches sometimes, but you know.
No, I gotta say, I've been around for a little bit. And Mary is by far not the biggest yeller I've ever seen.
No.
So we go into the fifth set now. So now we're tied. You guys have all the momentum. I think you won that set 25-15. And here's another one. Cal Lu jumps up a little bit early, and you guys make a comeback here. So here's a point where it's 4-3. You guys served it, and there's a nice another nice diving dig from you. And again, a long rally. And like you said, like, these long rallies are huge. But in the fifth set, how big are these points when you're in transition constantly?
You know, like, especially in the last set, you kind of forget that, oh my gosh, this set is to 15. So you can't just give them big runs. You can't just let them have silly points because they're all going to mean something, because you don't really have that much time. So anytime you get a point, it's like, okay, let's try to keep this ball and get a little run. Doesn't have to be a big one, just something to get us ahead for when we get towards like 11 or 12 or 15.
And then during this run, so Cal Lu scores or sides out. They take the lead. What's going to happen over the next several plays is we're going to get a side out from Jessie here on the right side. So I think it's going to be right out of the serve. Yeah, she just takes a big old swing at that one. If I remember right, Jessie in that game, just there's a couple times where she brought it out from somewhere, I don't know, but she seemed to be putting a little extra heat on it. Did you feel that from where you were standing?
She always brings in a lot of heat and energy. Like, she's one of those teammates who just fires you up when you get on the court, and you know, she's always happy and energetic and just moving on to the next point. Like, she makes a mistake, or if you make a mistake, it's not that big of a deal. Just forget about it, leave it in the past, and she's really good about that.
And this is a sequence I wanted to bring up because this nothing happens here, but Cal Lu after that goes into the net. She launches one out, and they're going to launch another one out here, I think, as well. So they go kind of unforced errors 3 in a row at a point where it was tied 5-5. And like you said, everything kind of being magnified. How big are those unforced errors, especially in the fifth set? Like you said, when you only got 15 points, that you come out and you're just giving the team, you can't give the team 3 points. That's 20% of the set.
You know, that's what we try not to do, because the goal is, if you can't get a big kill on it, if you can't get the best hit you can, it's just putting it in the best spot in the court. It doesn't always have to be the most powerful swing. It doesn't always have to be like something perfect. It's just find the open spots of the court and get them a little like unaware of what's going to happen and what you're going to give them.
And then on the other side for you guys, you've been given 2 gifts. Now you're going to get a third one here. How big is it for you, or how important is it to kind of take advantage of those situations and to make sure when they put their own backs against the wall to not let them up?
Yeah, well, that's usually when a team has 2 or 3 points like that where they're the ones making the mistakes, you just got to keep like trying to get those mistakes out of them, because when they're down, like it's hard to come back up. That's with any team. If you're having a bad run, it's really hard to get back into the groove. So you just got to keep like giving them intensity and like keeping the pressure at all times and like being loud, because then it's just going to keep bringing their energy down.
So you switch sides here, and then it gets to be. I think they make a little bit of a run to get back in it, but as we skip ahead, we'll kind of see. Yeah, see 9-7, 10-7. So they're not really out of it. It's 10-9. I think you guys call timeout there. You side out of the timeout. So we keep skipping here. I think ignore the score. I think the scoreboard stops working after a minute, but all right, here we go. So now I believe we are at 13-9. And Mavis is serving. We're gonna have another long rally. They've just taken their libero off the floor as well. That's gonna be big in a second. And they get a little bit of lucky there. She gets one off the head. Sometimes it's just all about luck in volleyball, right? Just where you are.
Honestly.
You stick your hand out and hopefully the ball hits it.
Hopefully.
In that instance, it was her head. But another long rally with balls going back and forth over the net at a critical point in the game, because they need this point to stay in it, and you guys are trying to close it out. And so there you go. That's going to bring up match point. As you can see on the left, they're trying to bring the libero back in, but she's supposed to be in 2, and she goes into 1. And then, so you guys are feeling it. I'm sure the whole bench is just excited about this being the end. And it's so obvious that the referee has to call out a rotation.
Yeah.
Then what do you think is going through your minds here? Because it takes a minute to realize what's happening.
That's why because when the ball came over to our side, I just kind of passed it back over to the other side because I knew that they messed up. And once that happened, I was trying to tell everyone, like, guys, that's the end of the game. Like, we're done. I was like, come on, like, cheer. That's the end of the game. And everyone was like, wait, what happened? I'm like, no, we're supposed to be like celebrating because we just won the game. So we were all kind of like confused, but the ref had to call that because it was really obvious that they messed up. So.
Yeah, that wasn't an overlap. That was she kind of switched in and out, and then she came back into the wrong position entirely.
Yeah, so they were out of rotation.
Yeah.
And it was so obvious that the ref like had to call it.
Yeah.
So people thought it was all our fault too. Like they were like, "Oh shoot, what did we do? Did we step over the line or double or something?" And I was like, "No, we won."
Do you think that's just the moment being the moment that it is? Obviously, you got a little bit of a bigger crowd than you usually have. Mm-hmm. You're in a tournament game, just kind of waiting for that moment where you get to celebrate the kill that goes out or the ball flying wide or whatever it is. It's usually so obvious. I don't think anybody was concentrating on what the libero was doing on the other side of the net.
Yeah.
So do you feel, what was the like after that? After everybody realizes that, oh man, they were out of rotation and we just won this match. Just what would you compare it to? Would you compare it to the CMS win and just the elation that goes along with it?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was the same, but like the same type of energy, because we were like, oh my gosh, we just made it through the semifinals and now we get another chance of playing CMS and having our season go on, and it was just super exciting. I kind of wish that like we did have one of those big exciting cheers when the point was over, but it was still fun to talk about afterwards and like be like, oh, that's kind of a weird way to win a game, but we'll take it.
Makes it a little bit more memorable, right? Because it's not the usual ending.
Yeah.
Now you go on the road and you got swept by CMS there in their place, and it's a hard place to play, I know. So, but for you guys, obviously, like we've said, a young team. Do you take that kind of as a learning experience and something to move forward with in the years to come for you?
Yeah, I think what we learned is like not to make the situation bigger than it is, because we get to CMS and we're just super excited to play, and then we get on the court and then at first we play timid, which is what we shouldn't do. We should come out strong and show like, yes, we're here to play, we're here to win, and not just let everything and all the outside factors kind of play into our game. It should just be we know how to play volleyball and we can play it well. So let's just show them what we can do.
Now, Sophie was the newcomer of the year, I think, last year.
Yeah.
You, and then you this year. So you fully expect, whenever we're back out on the floor, you can tell those freshmen, hey, it's your turn. You got to keep the streak alive.
Yeah, I guess so. Now we have to.
Next year, hopefully we're back together and on the floor back in a few months here, or almost about a month and a half before we usually start up. So you staying safe in quarantine, and are you staying ready for volleyball season? How are you?
I mean, in Nevada, there's some clubs open, so I have been playing volleyball. I'm just getting used to the game again and getting some more reps. It's all safe and socially distanced. So, I mean, it's cool that I'm doing that here so that I can tell Mary, yeah, it's possible we can do it at Chapman because we're doing it here. So as long as you're just staying safe, staying 6 feet apart whenever you can, like washing your hands, like keeping the size limit down, I think we definitely could play. I really hope we do, because that's all we're talking about. Just, Mary, when are we getting back to the court? When are we coming back to Chapman? So I really, really hope that we can, even if it's not like this big, even if we don't have the tournament or we don't have every team in conference playing. It's just be nice to get back together as a team on the court and get back to playing the sport that we love, So
I know a lot of people are hard at work trying to make that happen.
Yeah.
From the president of Chapman all the way down to all of us in the athletic department. So we hope that we're back. But that's all I got for you today. So thanks for joining us and joining me and doing this, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Yeah.